Hey, what is going on, everyone? It's astrologer Eric Rosen here for your zodiac sign forecast, your sun, your rising sign for February 2024. Thanks so much for being here. Well, we're going to do a little bit of a roast style this month, try to pepper in a little bit of humor, and I think we need to. We need to keep things fun with Pluto now coming into Aquarius, which that's going to be the focal point for this month's video that I have prepared for you all is what does Pluto in Aquarius mean for your sun sign and also your rising sign if you study that as well. So of course we're going to kick it off with Aries, but before I even get into Aries, I do want to say that Pluto in Aquarius overall is a good thing for all of us. I think Pluto in Capricorn since 2008 was tough duty. It was digging up a lot of lessons, a lot of practical, hard life lessons. And I think it's positioned us to go out in the world, be of service, right? Like it could be things like using technology better. It could be finding new ways to connect with people, building communities. I mean, this is the time where we can, really revolutionize the way that we live our lives and go out and be in the world. But it's only if you know how to own that truth within yourself, because that's what Pluto's all about. It's all about that life force energy. It's about breaking through the chains that shackle us. And so Pluto in Aquarius to me is all about breaking the chains of social conditioning, where we may be taught to think, act, and behave a certain way, and Pluto's going to come and resurrect, I think, the value of the human soul, that it's the empathy for the common man. And it can be pretty dark at times, but for those of us that know how to own that deep spiritual truth within us of, what are we doing in the world? How are we helping, or how do we allow ourselves to be helped? So it's an important time. It's a long cycle. It's going to be 20 years, and Pluto will dip back into Capricorn for a little bit in the fall. But right now we've got most of the year with Pluto in Aquarius. So let's get into it. Let's talk about these zodiac signs, shall we? So first off, we do have Aries, which Aries, you guys, you bring the bravado, right? But Pluto in Aquarius, be warned, it's like, I know you guys like to show up and be like, you know what, I got this. I'm just going to do everything that I want to do. I'm going to call it like it is. I'm going to, just shoot my shot at people and just fire away. And it's all about just being an Aries. It's just like, I'm going to talk and be and do things the way that I am. And it's all about me and my identity. But Pluto in Aquarius is going to remind you that, you got to temper expectations. You've got Chiron in your sign. So it's like, you need people. Like, be honest, Aries, you're a little deformed. Everyone's got Aries in their chart. Chiron brings a deformity to Aries in everyone's chart. Doesn't matter what sign. So I'm not just picking on you, Aries, but hang with me here. You guys are not at your full strength. You're learning how to, work through your wounds. I think Pluto in Aquarius is going to remind you, now that it's out of Capricorn, which was your 10th house of, career, achievement, destiny. It's like, okay, now take what those long-term goals were and hopefully aligning yourself with a deeper sense of purpose and go out and help people now. And be okay with being humble to be helped by people. You're going to need that too. And even if you felt like you didn't position yourself well with a longer term goal, that's okay. You're going to get Pluto revisiting in the fall. And also too, I feel that Pluto in Aquarius levels the playing field for you a little bit, where it's like, hey, if you don't find like you're in the right groups of people, or you need to shed some skin in order to show up fresher to the groups of people that you're with, or, just, I would say even too, just like being okay and dropping any sense of being too harsh on just like people in general, and like lumping people in and like categorizing them. Because I think with that Chiron deformity, it's almost like you got to remember, it's almost like pointing out to the world and saying there's parts of it that stink like shit. And it's like, what's the dirty laundry that maybe you haven't washed, for yourself, Aries, that you feel like you've got to keep washing because that wound keeps showing up. And that wound it's an identity issue, right? It's like kind of knowing who you are, but also knowing that it's not feeling the way that you thought it would go, and you're making do with it. But that's also why you need people, Aries. So, just remember, connection is going to be really, really important for you. Moving on to Taurus. Well, Taurus, I know you like to lay in bed till 10 a.m. I know you like to eat the nachos until 11 o'clock at night. Maybe wake up with some cheese on the sheets. And, you know, Taurus gets that bad rap as being the hedonist, and maybe take some time to get things going. But this is Pluto in your 10th house. 10th house is Aquarius for you, Taurus. And so, you know what? You've got to dig deep and find out, at least start finding out, like, what is that longer term ambition and goal that you have? What's that sense of purpose that's going to go out and actually take the beautiful gifts that you are and put them out into the collective, and like raise the flag, and don't just like raise it half-mast of like, well, I hope this skill set or this thing that I want to do or this project kind of works. It's like, you've got Uranus and Jupiter in your sign. It's like, you've got to bring the lightning bolts, right? You need that flag flapping, whether it's a lightning storm, a rainstorm, a calm day, a windy day, like whatever it is, you've got to put that flag out there, Taurus. People need to know what you're about. They need to see you, see your identity. This is really a great time for you to shine. Now, it's going to take a lot of patience, obviously, for things to develop. But, I mean, you understand patience, Taurus. You're the bull. You know, things take time to get going. So just be careful to not, you know, step in a mud puddle and splash a little bit of dirty water on your ankles and say that your dress is ruined. This is not a time to, you know, lose your identity over perfection, you know, issues, and just, you know, making judgments about like if it's not going perfectly according to plan. I think it's going to be a little bit more nuanced, that it's like, remember, it's still an experiment. You're still going to be learning lessons, right? Very 10th house nature of Pluto and Aquarius. I think it's only shocking lessons if you don't own your true worth and value. If you own your true worth and value, there's always going to be a next stone to step on. That way, the leap of faith is a little bit more, as you take these the next 20 years, is like, okay, I see that my rational thinking mind can still wrap my head around this leap that I'm taking. Because, you know, Taurus, you need stability, right? Like, a bull doesn't jump rooftops per se like Neo does in the Matrix. And so, you know, having that practical, stable understanding is still important, but you don't have to, you know, be too cautious with the moves that you're making. You could be eccentric and make, you know, bigger moves when you know your worth, because they'll just line up and make sense because you've been planning well for it. You've been, you know, taking care of the farming duties, so to speak, to grow to this point. So it's a good time for you, Taurus. Moving on to Gemini. Gemini, well, I know Gemini, you like to just kind of like, you know, mull things over, the same old stuff, thinking about, you know, well, should I eat Salisbury steak for dinner or chicken again? It's like, come on, Gemini, like, stop mulling over the same like little like things as if that's somehow making your reality exciting. It's really not, because Pluto and Aquarius is going to reveal that in a big way, that there's a whole big wide world out there for you, Aquarius. And I know you've been getting prepared for this because, you know, just like every sign, we saw Pluto visit Aquarius for basically a moment last year in the spring, but this is going to be a much longer term, you know, thing for you. And so, you know, it can feel like a vacation, but only like if you're on top of your communication, but especially I would say communicating from, you know, beliefs that you're allowing to like come up from like a deeper place. This is almost like being okay with being pretty weird, Gemini. Like just own it. Like just own like the weird side of the coin of yourself and bring up like those beliefs, bring up that world perspectives. Like stop like sugarcoating it or you know, hiding it, like trying to fit into the public like you maybe were with Pluto and Capricorn in your 8th, that somehow you have to like hide, you know, this other component of yourself. So you're going to get a long time to figure this out. But I think, you know, with this fresh 0 degree that, you know, when any planet, sun, moon enters into a new sign, it's always 0 degrees. That's the freshest, innocent degree there is. It's Pluto and Aquarius at 0 degrees, Aries. And you know, that Saturn, Jupiter met here too at the end of 2020, which was called the Christmas star. So it's like, it is bringing up this idea. Maybe you go back and look and go, What was kind of the beliefs that maybe felt a little floaty, but you were maybe trying to connect with in the unconscious mind and the understanding of things back at the end of 2020? Pluto's here to like flip the circuit breaker, like literally, and be like, hey, okay, now it's time to play with this. It's time to play with a bigger world. It's time to play a bigger game. That's really what this is about for you, Gemini. This is not about you playing in your backyard anymore and playing croquet with yourself and your spirit guides and calling it fun. This is about going out, being in the world, socializing, being around real people, making really big moves with people, networking. Really important time, you know, to make sure that you're out there doing the things and exploring. You're not going to figure anything out on the couch, Gemini. You got to go out and experience it and get the facts from the actual experience instead of just continuing to mull things over. So you got this, Gemini. Good luck. Cancer, this is your 8th house. Pluto in Aquarius is your 8th house. Cancer, I think you're kind of like walking in maybe with your back turned a little bit, or at least to the side of your power. You know, maybe there's a lot of focus on your relationships this past 15 years, Pluto and Capricorn since 2008. You don't need to really focus on that so much though now. This is more about like whatever relationships are in your life, to go deeper with them and see like, do these actually like really fit in terms of like power dynamics? Like, are these the people that if shit was hitting the fan, because, you know, you are Cancer, it's, you know, you guys have the intense emotions that come and go. It's part of being a Cancer. It's what makes you awesome and beautiful. But like, what if like the storm lasted a few days and like things were running low on supplies or running low on Kleenex, or you really need help? Are there really going to be those people that like really come to your aid? Like maybe if they're stressed or like they've got issues or they're feeling under-resourced, you know, it's about who's actually going to be willing to be intimate with you in that way. That's going to be kind of the ride or die energy. That's really going to be the test for you, Cancer, is like, who are the people that are showing up and really, you know, I don't want to say by your side, but, you know, they've got your 6, but they've also got, you know, your blind spots on your left and right too, so that you feel stable, you know, that you feel like you're not, you know, losing yourself with just any, this could be crazy fears that come up. I got to be honest, Cancer, this is all about owning your power. This is all about magnetism. This is law of attraction energy. This is about bringing in, you know, money and resources. And like, you know, I don't think you've fully known your power of what you're capable of, Cancer. And so this is what this is going to teach you. But because it is Pluto and Aquarius, it deals with people. It's like, you got to make sure that you have the right people around you in order to go through, you could say, those mystical trials and tribulations, kind of like going through puzzles in a temple to figure out, you know, some unconscious parts of your psychology that, where did you maybe like give your power away or repress it? And we've all done it, but this is just a time to really highlight how you can break out of that, Cancer, and be much more powerful than you possibly can realize. But, you know, you're not here to do it alone. You're meant to have the right people around you. For some of you, Cancer, I mean, this could even be going deep into, you know, shamanic journeys. This could be, you know, plant medicine. This could be a lot of different things that go really deep into shadow work, and to have tribe, community, people supporting you that feel safe and trustworthy to actually take you to those places. And so you won't really be able to avoid them, you know, those shadow, doing the shadow work, Cancer. It'll surprise you, even if you're, you know, thinking that you can avoid it or that you've outsmarted it too. So good luck, Cancer, to you as well. So Leo, this is your 7th house, Pluto and Aquarius. Leo, you guys are my favorite because, you know, it is your relationships. I think you're starting this transit out somewhat with the moat, the drawbridge of your castle, like up here, to where you're kind of like, well, you know, thinking like, oh, well, if I can't see them, they can't see me. It's like, well, they can see the top of your head, like poking over the wall, seeing if like you want to hang out or whatever. So you've got to you can't wait things out too long, Leos. You've got to decide who you're going to let in and not let in to your castle. This is all about who are you letting in close to you, right? It's easy for you to see, you know, who is maybe acting a little strange and a little weird, and maybe you shouldn't bring them in to your castle, bringing them into whatever you consider sacred to you, you know, the love that you are. This deals with, you know, your circle. This deals with connection. And it may be hard to see all of it because you got a lot, I think, going on, Leo. So this is almost like appointing like trustees or something. This is like people to help you vet, or developing your own skills on like how to vet people, your own, you know, you've been learning a lot about systems and how to make things more efficient for your life. So I think it's about seeing like, what have you learned about your day-to-day life and reality that works best for you in terms of like how your time is being spent, you know, your day-to-day schedule. And to take that sort of formulation and go, okay, like maybe instead of trying to figure out if this person is cool or not, maybe I have a system where I don't have to spend extra amounts of effort trying to like weigh it out, or you just have someone else like do it for you, like ask XYZ questions, you know, I don't know. It's like, you know, it's like if you're only wanting to be around someone that's done a lot of deep spiritual work, then maybe it's like someone's asking the questions. What's your level of spiritual growth? Have you ever done shadow work? Like, have you ever been in conscious partnership? That's going to be a big one with Pluto and Aquarius, right? Like being like consciously aware of like the power dynamics, like in relationships. You don't want to like just all of a sudden befriend someone that like looks cool, or date someone, or get into a relationship with someone that's like just like talking about spirituality. You've got to like look deeper and be like, does this person really like own it? Do they really like take shape and take form? And do they like reek of spirituality in a good way? Or are they just like talking about it as almost like a persuasive way that they're cool? And it's like, yeah, hang out with me, you know, like I love what you're doing. And it's like, Leo, you didn't, you know, work your ass off since 2008 with Pluto and Capricorn in that 6th house, you know, just to start letting everyone in. So this is definitely about using discernment about who you get close to. Well, when it comes to Virgos, I feel like, you know, Pluto in the 6th could be a good thing for you, but I think you're starting to realize like, whoa, like I'm starting to get more energy, or like I got a lot of energy, but like maybe you've been living still like a day-to-day life as if like you don't have a lot in the tank, Virgo. Like you've been trying to almost just like use the least amount of like effort possible in terms of like efficiency, and you know, like still kind of doing a lot, but then sort of like just not really following through with things and like going deeper with things. This is where you're actually going to have to start going deeper into the details of like everything that you're creating in your reality, Virgo. Like no more can you sort of just you know, start something that you feel passionate about, and like when it gets hard or scary, you know, or difficult, and just like push it to the side. This is about honing in on a deep spiritual practice. This is actually karma yoga. This is having reverence. This is having gratitude for whatever it is that you're getting deeply involved in, and especially around, you know, people, friends, groups. So the good news is that there's support for people to like help you. So don't think that you got to do this all along, Virgo, but I think you have to really get sincere, you know, about the details, the systems. This brings up your health, your day-to-day life. Like, how's your health doing, Virgo? Like, get that under control for sure. And then I think the schedule will start to follow, because you'll be able to see more clearly, intuitively, like what you need to change and do differently. You could even be, you know, being around different groups of people. It's like, if you're not liking your reality, Virgo, like, are you around, you know, the right people? Like, do you feel kind of blah when you're around certain people? Do you feel better when you're around others? This could be crafting a reality of like, how do you create more of that? it's not gonna fly immediately, right? Like there's gonna be a lot of figuring it out. There's gonna be maybe some blocks, you know, where you maybe want it to change or you can see it to change. It's like the shelf that you just can't reach for the item, the resource that you need to, like, you know, open a little door in your reality to like make things go better. And so there is a level of, you know, studiousness in your day-to-day life. And I would kind of call it patience, because sixth house is not so much patience. It's more just like the, you know, acceptance of the day-to-day monotony of stuff. Like kind of like, okay, here we go again. This is like my day in my life and I got to do this. It may not be your most favorite thing in the world to do, but like, I think you get a little bit of momentum going. If it's something you're passionate about, Virgo, it'll be fine. But like, if you get the momentum going and you hate it more as you go along, maybe you're just not involved in the right, you know, projects and doing the right things. And when I say right, I just mean aligned for you. It'll go better for trimming the hedges of like things that you just don't want to, you know, waste your energy on. Because, you know, I think you're going to have more energy, but it's also seeing too, like if you're actually feeling depleted, like maybe you're just really not doing the right things that are aligned, and you want things that are actually like giving you a little bit of energy boost to get to the next activity. Well, Libra, are you ready to come out of your hidey hole? That fourth house, Pluto and Capricorn transit, I think you were kind of in that hidey hole a little bit. I'm talking about the mole that just like wasn't really ready to come out of its little burrow, its little hole, whatever you call it. Like you guys just, you were getting, I think, a little comfortable where it was like, at least if Pluto and Capricorn was knocking things down in your life, at least it wasn't falling far, because it's at the bottom of the zodiac. It's at the fourth house, and it's going, well, at least no one saw it. At least no one saw my personal life fall apart. At least I didn't have to be vulnerable. I could just be like, nah, I didn't need to do that. So, you know, I don't think everyone knows what's really been going on with you, Libra. You've played it pretty close to the chest, and, you know, it's understandable to do that. I think it's like looking though at going, okay, this is now Pluto and Aquarius in your fifth house. You need to shine, Libra. And, you know, there are some Libras that I've talked to that you guys are poised pretty well. You just got to make sure that, you know, you're not having PTSD from emotional stuff from the past coming up, and just going, you know what, like, regardless of where you're at, whether it's like a, you know, relationship thing, a financial thing, you just got to trust that you're the king of your domain now. You know, that you're going to be the king of people, Libra. That might sound kind of weird, but it's almost like you like to have things in harmony and balance with others and things to be beautiful, but you have to be that that king or queen, that regal energy that knows how to rule with an impartial sense of understanding. And you may not know exactly what your kingdom is yet, where the boundaries are at. You might feel a little bit like a nomadic king or queen, and you have some people with you, but it's like the structures aren't fully defined yet, and like what you're doing. But I think this is a little bit going like, okay, like I can do this. Like, I may not have all the people or the tribe or understand exactly how this is going to go, but it's like, hopefully you've at least, you know, have a plan, Libra. I think that's what Pluto Capricorn taught you. And that, you know, that you can actually take more flair to things. You could take more creativity to it. It's like, just shine, Libra. It's like, bring the shine, bring the creative element to it. Like, this is definitely trusting a deep spiritual practice of just drawing people into your party, you know, and just trusting that that light is going to bring people in, and that it's not so much about trying to figure out the right perfect plan and just, you know, get all crazy trying to figure out details. It's much more, you could say, nuance, and just like, if you ever feel like you're slipping or you're unsure, you're feeling a little lopsided with your thinking, that you just go, okay, let me go look in the mirror for a second. Let me get myself poised before I put myself back out there and shine and be seen. And, you know, if it's not that easy, then maybe it's inner child work, Libra. You know, don't forget to bring the play. Like, that's going to help you flip switches more than anything. And I would say if you're having trouble getting certain areas of your thinking or understanding about your world or your reality, trying to shed light on that, just try to take the playful experimental attitude of like, you know, a giggling kid of like, you flip the light switch on, but then the lights didn't come on. And it's like, you know, do you get scared, or you just kind of like laugh about it, and then you go flip other light switches? You know, it's like, reminds me of like little kids running around an empty room and just like flipping light switches. Like, you know, it's okay. Like, find the play, find the, you know, innocence, even if it feels a little dumb, a little silly, because it's going to carry you through, you know, your long term as that castle's getting defined. Because I think Pluto is actually going to want to bring you some good spoils for it. You know, it's just that things can't be forced in terms of trying to figure out how it's going to make it happen. And do not stress or overthink this, Libra, that you made the wrong move or that your castle's not going to build or go well. Like, that's when you got to get back to more of that playful innocence. And then also still on the adult side, you know, the powerful nature of trusting that you've positioned yourself well enough that you can get through any challenges, Libras. So coming up on Scorpios now. Scorpio, this is your 4th house. So Scorpios, you know, Pluto and Capricorn is your 3rd house. So I think your head might be a little bit like, what the hell did I just go through? Like what was that about? Like, why did I maybe do those things or make those choices? Like, what was I thinking? It's like, clear the board, Scorpio. Like, it's okay now. Screw it. Like, this is all about just build from what you got right now. Build that foundation. Pluto in your 4th house is saying, you know, there are surprises that can come in your home life, you know, family life. Your emotions can surprise you in a good way, but only if you're willing to own that power in yourself. Like, this is not about either overprotecting or hiding your emotions from the world, or even like your desires for, you know, how your home life and a family can actually be, and connecting to your emotions can be a core part of your world. That's going to make up more of your world than anything. It's not so much like being like in the general world. It's like your world being that home life. And so, you know, learning deeply what that is in you, knowing how to attract that, knowing how to work through the highs of emotion and how to like take those highs and actually, you know, move. I hate to say it, but it's kind of like the Ouija board a little bit. I mean, you are Scorpio, so there is like this deep occult nature to it. Although the Ouija board gets kind of a bad rap, we've been programmed to think it's like very dark, and it's actually not. I did the research. It's much more innocent than what people say it is. And so it's like, you know, you just have to be willing to go into the feels of things. Don't overprotect. But at the same time, it's like, honestly, I don't think you can be too vulnerable right now, Scorpio. I think people will trust you more the more that like you're talking about your personal life, because, you know, Scorpios, you got the poker face. You can hide things better than anyone. And so you can choose to do that if you want to, but then how are people going to like reach you, right? It's Pluto Aquarius is your 4th house. It means that you, in order to really connect powerfully with people, you have to let them into your emotional, personal reality and let them know what's going on there, even if it feels like, you know, your home's got a broken faucet or a leak, or it's like, oh, look, there's this project that I never finished. I didn't realize like I haven't developed myself fully emotionally or in my power, and I don't want people to see it. And it's like, well, maybe they've got some tools. Maybe they can help get you to the next step. Maybe it's just like being okay with like doing that thing just in order to maneuver yourself into, you know, a better positioning. And I think when you do that, you know, at least even if it doesn't go well, you can at least go, oh, okay, well, that's why I did that, or that's why that happened. It's like, you still want to be okay with the experiment of, you know, making moves that help you understand yourself emotionally. I don't want you to get like frozen in your emotions, Scorpio, feeling like that you're too contracted and you're too wrapped up in the blanket and can't get out of bed in the morning. You're like, it's cold, but it's like it's cold in your, emotions because of fear. It's like, it's okay, feel it, see that your comfort zone has never really been, or your home life. It's always meant to be exciting. You're Scorpio, right? You want that edge. And so Pluto's here to help bring that edge to you. You just have to know where the boundaries are at for that for you. It's not about so much going into the past with things. It's more just about understanding the true nature of you. All right. So when it comes to Sagittarius, well, it's hard to knock Sagittarius, because out of every sign, I mean, Pluto going through Capricorn, what you guys went through, I think you're maybe feeling pretty confident right now and coming in and just kind of, yeah, I know my worth, and, being bullish on that. And so that's fine. I think this third house transit of your mind, of communication, this could bring up, even stuff like siblings, neighbors, your close proximity environment. Pluto in Aquarius is going to be really going about, okay, can you actually run a really powerful experiment with what you have in life? Can you make that enough, Sagittarius? I don't think it's so much about the confidence of trusting that you're going to create the biggest world ever the next 20 years. I think it's actually seeing whatever it is that's already close to you, almost is the world. And that's kind of what you've been planting and growing, is just building on that. And so now this is about just finding the power, finding the vitality in whatever it is that's already surfaced and already brought itself in, to reveal to you. I don't really have a whole lot more to say, Sagittarius, other than it's don't feel like you've got to go on the wild search, for something. I know you're all about expanding, but it's flipped for you, right? Because Pluto's in the third house. It's the opposite of the ninth house, which ninth house is Sagittarius energy that likes to expand. That's Gemini zone this next 20 years. And so yours is smaller, but it's almost where you get more familiar with your thinking. It's where you start to appreciate the little things in life. Sag, maybe it's okay. Maybe you've been going and expanding so much, and there's been so much social aspects of things in life and just wanting to have a good time. Maybe it's okay to you find the edge more so in just the people that are closer to you. This could bring up brotherhood, sisterhood things, too, smaller knit tribe things for you, right? I think that's where it's going to be your main source of excitement. It's going to be, connecting your family and the people closest to you, brotherhood, sisterhood wise, and finding the passion and creation element in that. I think that you could find that really exciting, Aquarius. It can actually be, a fairly calming transit, and seeing that the only thing is to not, if you ever someone says something and it shocks you, or something unfamiliar happens, right? It's almost it could be the other thing too, of you're expecting always the familiar, and then something unfamiliar happens, and then not getting negative about it, and actually just staying neutral about it, and not judging it as good or bad. You don't want to go too far one way or the other when something different does happen in the everyday environments that you're doing things in, or you have a light bulb moment. It's cool, okay, go act on that. Or at least, this could bring up knowing your human design too, of how to take action with that. And it can be a good time. So Capricorns, moving on to you. This is your second house, Capricorn. Pluto in Aquarius is your second. Pluto was decimating for you in your first house. This last 15 years, you're probably coming in a little bit, little Eeyore-ish, Capricorn, I know it's been hard. Do not try to get out the numbing solution just because it was difficult. Pluto in Aquarius is like, what, wait, well, what? Like, you mean I get another chance? I get to be like cool again? I get to be valuable again? I get to be great again? It's like, yes, absolutely. Now, you might be looking around, going, well, do I really have the things to make me feel worthy, though? And do I feel talented enough? Am I self-worth to go, like, actually create the world that I want and be around those people? The answer is only yes if you believe on it at a higher level, like interdimensional level, because it's Aquarius, right? And then also in the depth of you, too. This is about connecting everything that we refer to, right, as the high, what's higher self, or like the higher level chakras or spirit or angels or just any higher level guidance. And then actually also rooting that into you as well in the body. This is embodying it, right? This is taking all that goodness and not just making it like a vision or a fantasy or a hopefulness, and actually bringing it in to all channels of the body and actually like letting it move through you, changing the cellular structure in your body, right? Like that's going to be, I think, the surprise, moment for you, Capricorn, is seeing that like any harsh, shadowy energy that made you feel like old and things were hard, and actually coming in and going, oh, wow, I can actually use the miracle of a spiritual connection to change more of the physical nature of your body, your worth, how you're able to create, manifest money, possessions, these different things, and also the people, of course, to help with that, right? Because you don't want to do this alone. But it's like, get yourself tailored into like, what are the things that you need? It's okay to start with just the basics. Remember, it's a long transit. Pluto's still going to come back into Capricorn, and, might feel like a phantom kick in the butt, meaning like you might be thinking Pluto Capricorn will suck in the fall, but I don't think it's almost like the icing on the cake for you to be a radical badass for this next 20 years. And so it is definitely using this month to get your gear ready. And it's not the gear that you think that you need. And I'm going to repeat that. It's not the gear that you think that you need. This is Pluto in Aquarius. It's much deeper than that. It's like more of that deeper knowing, connected to that higher spiritual component I just mentioned. So like, what are the things to actually like start with the building blocks with? You want to start with A, B, not start with C just because you're trying to gallop too hard, too fast, getting too excited, Capricorn, because you feel like you've left hell. Pluto not being in a Capricorn anymore. So you got to identify what that looks like for you. It's going to be different. Like second house is value systems, right? So Pluto in Aquarius, I can't tell you what that exactly looks like for you. Every Capricorn is going to have wildly different values. And to go deep into those things of like looking at, well, what is that for me? And bringing out that skill set. And there's a hint, you probably already know what it is, but you just got to bring it to the surface of the actual knowing and make do with it. So Aquarius, it's your first house. It's you. Aquarius, I think you've been kind of like coming in a little bit like party action, like I'm an Aquarius. I like to be around people. Yay, it's a good time. And then it's in your first house. And then it's like, well, do you feel a little alone, Aquarius, a little isolated? Maybe you already were with Pluto and Capricorn going through your 12th, which was an isolation zone. But I think this is a little bit more going like, okay, like come out of that, Aquarius, like come out of like almost like feeling like you wanted to be connected with people, but you were kind of like not, because of the phase that you were going through for a long time. It's been a strange kind of wasteland that you were going through, Aquarius, and kind of, not the worst transit, but it kind of sucked. This is all about knowing like, hey, we need you. We need you to step up. We need you to, this is first house. So this is like, think Aries energy, right? It's identity. It's your drive. It's your ambition. It's that this is who I am and this is what I'm going for. So Pluto's going to be teaching you what that is. And so I think the worst thing would be to feel like you don't have any ground to stand on now, that somehow like you've got to take steps like in like thin air, like in the sky, and like try to, walk towards something that you don't even know what, because this is the transit that's teaching you who you are, right? So if you don't know who you are fully, how can you know where you're going? And that's what's kind of strange about it. So I want to get too wrapped up in your mind, Aquarius, of like this redetermination starting this month and going into the next 20 years of like, who am I? What do I want? Who are the right people to be in my life? Like, it doesn't need to be an existential crisis. I think it's more like an experimental zone of going, okay, well, there's places where maybe I wasn't having fun or I'm not happy, and so it's going, okay, cool. Or at least this can, be the transit that shows me what experiments in my life that maybe I was running to have, fun and happiness, and it just wasn't working. And now it's like at the even playing field for going, okay, like choose your new character, choose your new avatar, Aquarius. I mean, imagine that the board got reset and, you were building, it's like a video game character up to like, I don't know, level 30 out of 99. And you were kind of plateauing though, but at least you were getting used to it. But then it was kind of stagnant. You were kind of hiding it, that life was stagnant. And this is like you playing a different game and going back to level 0 and maybe feeling a little alone with it. But it doesn't mean that you do the lone wolf thing and don't like talk about like, wait, what is this weird new game that I'm playing? What's this avatar that did I choose this? Did someone else choose this for me? You're finding out who you are, Aquarius. And so it's like, take whatever people that you do have like contact with and be okay with using the mirroring element, to be like, hey, what do you see? Or if you don't have that, it's like, go look in the mirror. This is about not so much using your mental understanding. You're not going to have big billboards like telling you where to go so much, Aquarius, or who you are. It's going to be more about this deep mystery within yourself. And I think the way that it's fun is, it reminds me of like, I don't think everyone's going to know this reference, but there was a Bill and Ted movie where it had the Grim Reaper in it, but then they ended up playing like games with the Grim Reaper. They were like having they had a deal or a contest, of like winner, loser, take all type thing. But then the Grim Reaper actually turned out to be like a fun, cool guy and actually ended up helping them succeed in their endeavor of what they were trying to accomplish in the movie, right? And so it's almost like seeing that Pluto, that is the Grim Reaper, that brings ending to things and can be scary. And when he shows up, you're like, oh no, we're screwed. But it's like, befriend that energy. It's like, be friends with endings. Be okay with the past being in the past, Aquarius. Like, let that go. You can let all the traumas go now. You don't have to rehash the last 15 years of those emotions. Like, you can actually appreciate that the Grim Reaper is only scary if you react to him and you resist him. It's like you can hold his hand and like go into the next phase of your life, trusting that, if we want to talk philosophy for a second, that every energy of origin on this planet still came from God, creator, and that includes the Grim Reaper energy that came from, I don't know, like Hades sent him here, from the underworld, from like the Pluto underworld. And it's like, doesn't mean he's taking you back there. And in fact, he's not, because it's first house. You're at least here. You have an identity. You're a person, right? Like, you're going places and you're going to choose which place you got to go, but you got to be okay with the understanding of death, rebirth cycles. That when something ends, something new starts, and that can be scary when it's like the wild unknown of like, what is this new? I don't even know what. It's like the questions of what, why, how, where, none of that's been answered yet. But it's being okay with that excitement and just, seeing that fear is also there to be alchemized, turn that lead into that gold. The alchemy of actually leaning into the fear, and that's what's actually going to materialize your next step. That's the key, Aquarius. So finally, we got Pisces, 12th house. Are you there, Pisces? You in there? Pluto in Capricorn for you was your 11th house. And so it was kind of like, how much were you out in the world? Were you connecting with people too much? not enough, too little? Was it the right people? Those were all, I think, the questions that you kind of like left with, of going like what was that? Like, okay, I learned some cool stuff, I did some cool things, but like now what? Because it's like, it's your 12th house now. Pluto Aquarius is your 12th house. And so this is almost like, I think, where you have to rectify things that can feel a little scary, like, your patterns, your subconscious patterns, right? Where you have to learn to let go of things, where you have to be okay with evaluating like light and dark understandings, things around duality. 12th house is the part of the journey where the mysteries aren't solvable. It's like we just kind of like let them go, and we just like surrender, and we let God, creator, the angels sort of show us, right? And so since this is Aquarius as your 12th house, it deals with people. It's almost like being okay with like leaning on people if you feel like you don't have a lot in the tank, if your energy has felt low, or you were giving a lot. This is being okay with letting people go, and too, like certain people that aren't just meant to be connections. And I know that can be sad and hard, but it is the timing for it. It is the timing to be okay with like letting certain people go, noting that I think the strongest people for you are going to be the ones that are there to help hold you and soothe you for just any challenges that you've been through, or at least like pointing you in the right direction with like maybe, a sign spiritually of like how to connect with God in your own space. But this, I think, where it can be also exciting, Pisces, is like, it can be like, you can be a little flashy with people in a good way. This is also taking, just any, confidence, value that you feel and that you have in yourself, and actually turning yourself into kind of a mystical person, not for, derogatory means of gain or something like that, but almost just like being okay with like being the mystery man or mystery woman, in the room. It's not all, doom and gloom about processing endings, right? Like 12th house is still like this foggy media fantasy-like area. And so it's like, you can have a certain like mystique and like allure with people. And I think that's a good thing, because that's where some of the like the fun can be. I mean, this brings up interesting stuff, like messing around with like dressing up, or like just how you go out, into the world, right? It's like not feeling like you have to blend in a certain way, because I think you're going to kind of stick out like a sore thumb anyway, Pisces, like, being people, it's like people being able to sense like the person that they want to like read emotionally where they're at. It's like, where's the Pisces in the room? That'll be the easiest person to read like where they're at. So it's like, it's almost like bringing the fun to it, and just like, haha, yeah, like that's life, like things end. You have to let certain things go. You have to let people go. You have to let situations go. It doesn't mean I can't still be cool. Doesn't mean I can't still be fly, and like enjoy the journey, because it brings up elements of like deep trust and surrender, and like, well, whatever it is that is going to be, falling away is actually meant to bring you closer to a connection to God. And I think that Pisces are posed to be some really awesome healers during this time, of helping others through, grief and stuff like that, because you're kind of like, you're going through it. And so you're already in the vibration of it, Pisces. And because you're, tend to be naturally compassionate and empathetic anyway, it's almost like you can bring that same empathy and compassion to yourself, and then let it exude out to the people that are around you. So that's it. That's all 12 signs. This is, that's my wrap on Pluto and Aquarius for y'all. Go forth and, prosper during this time. It's Pluto and Aquarius. Like, we don't have to, fall for like the negative side of it, like that the world's going to a destructive place, Pluto and Aquarius, right? It's more so like, well, maybe it's just destruction, path clearing of just things that we thought were cool, but they're not like really working for humanity's evolution, and trusting that Pluto knows how to help us evolve as a human race and to really go with that. So if you want to find out more specifics beyond just like your sun rising sign of how any of the current astrology, not just Pluto and Aquarius, is affecting you during this time, of course, you can always come get a personal one-on-one reading with me. I do private readings, I do couples readings, I do business chart readings, event chart readings, and you know, there's even an offer I have that I'll drop below where I actually even combine human design, gene keys with the astrology to like actually pull those all together. Like most people are just like reading them as separate things. I actually know how to take astrology, human design, gene keys and like wrap it into one big story to serve you of the cycle that you're in. And then also the other offer is doing actually astrology, an astrology reading, intuitive channeling. I'm an Akashic Records channeler. So it's like you're getting that wisdom that I channel from above. I work with the Akashic Records. I also work a lot with the Arcturians, who's a really awesome extraterrestrial race that is here to help humanity evolve with all its knowledge and wisdom. And then energy work is part of that session too. So it's astrology, Akashic Records, channeling, plus an energy work session. So that could take the form of a shamanic clearing or breath work or hypnosis, depending on whatever we decide, whatever your fancy is, whatever intuitively also feels, you know, called for, as a way to like, okay, here's some beautiful information for you to take and integrate in your life, but then let's do some energy work to help upload that on a deeper subconscious level. And then this will clear any energy blocks in your system to actually receiving that information so that you can actually make quantum leaps in it, because that's what I'm really all about, is like producing those epiphany moments for people and helping them make those quantum leaps where they just like take off in a new direction in your life. So love you all. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next month. And yep, enjoy. Pluto and Aquarius. It's going to be awesome. All right. Take care.